All right, welcome to Shed Talks. I've been talking about this. I wrote a blog about it. Getting here into the shed and actually recording can be tricky sometimes. It's a little windy today, so you might hear the wind kind of riffling through here. No worries. The whole point to having Shed Talks was giving us an opportunity to kind of have some conversations and tell some stories about some instances where training played a really huge part of our customer experience. Whether that was good or whether that was bad, we always kind of want to take a chance to highlight opportunities where training came into play. As some of you know, I'm the president at Learning Zen. We're an online training system. I'm not here to sell my product. I'm actually here to more advise and give people some suggestions on what they can do in forms of training and education. We'll often talk about things that we can turn into online training modules. We'll talk about experiences where somebody did a killer job, and we'll talk about places that apparently are a total train wreck when it comes to training departments. So I'll try to tell a story each time. I'll try to drop a musical reference in each time, and we'll try to get a dialogue going where you can ask some questions and answers for future videos as well. And that's kind of the format that we're going to go with. So when I started thinking about, well, what's so important about training and education, and what is it that you want to talk about, Doug, and what's the sort of format for this entire program we're going to do? And for me, it was being able to talk about something that I love, which is training and education, and being able to tell stories. So I kind of get to do a couple of different things that I really, really enjoy. A topic that always comes up for me is customer experience. It's one of those things that I think is the most important thing when you're actually thinking about making an investment. Make that investment in training. Make it in your employees. I honestly believe that an investment in training is better than any marketing money you could ever spend. Happy to quote that. Investment in training is better than any marketing dollars ever spent. This is something that we feel really strongly about. Today's day and age, everything is review-based. Everything is instantaneous. So if somebody comes in and has a bad experience, it's going right to the web. If they have a good experience, it's going right to the web. You've got to be thinking about this when you're running businesses, when you're expanding and opening up new stores. This becomes a real challenge. When I talk about brands that really kind of get and understand training and education, I'm going to talk about three people who, none of them are my customer, but they are three businesses that are totally devoted to training. They have a culture of training and education, and that's what we want to strive towards. Everyone building a culture of training. It means employees understand their jobs better. They understand how they're being measured. They get some feedback. They get some praise. That really helps employees feel good about their jobs, stay around longer, and know what's expected of them. And the three brands that I'm going to talk about are Chick-fil-A, Ritz Carlton, and Disney World. Totally different in all shapes and forms. Chick-fil-A, everybody's heard the stories. Hopefully you've had a chance to go to one of these restaurants. It's a fast food restaurant, fast casual. It's not a 5-star dining service by any means, but it's a pretty tremendous dining experience. Chick-fil-A being a fast food restaurant, you would think that it would be people who, don't spend a lot of time training their employees, and the customer experiences expectations are very low. And I think that's where they exceed, because the expectations are low. Every other restaurant is doing it mostly the same way. Chick-fil-A chooses to do something different. They've invested in their employees. They empower them, they teach them, and they train them. If you sit down to dine in a Chick-fil-A restaurant, somebody from the staff is going to come check on your meal. Somebody's going to come offer to refill your drink. If you spill something on the ground, before you can even reach down and grab it, somebody from Chick-fil-A is usually there to clean it up for you. It's really quite tremendous. They've studied a lot of training and education topics. They spend time with their employees. There's a very long training process that happens there. And so I'll tell more Chick-fil-A stories later. I'm sure there's going to be lots more videos. So the other brand that we talk about a lot is Disney World. Tremendous brand power. People associate good times, happiness, customer-friendly staff when they think about Disney World. And Disney got it right a long time ago. They know that training is the core to their success. They spend time with all of their employees, whether it's a cast member, whether it's the person taking your ticket as you walk through the gate, whether it's somebody selling you a juicy turkey leg or a frozen lemonade. I guess I'm giving free product placements today. Anyways, they have a staff that clearly has been trained, and Disney has spent time with them and made an investment in their employees. They realize that the customer experience is second to none. They know people are going to come back from the Disney experience, and they're going to talk about it with their friends. They're going to post pictures on social media sites. They're going to get all kinds of free press. So let's make sure that the customers have a tremendous experience when they get there. And the third brand I'm going to talk about is Ritz Carlton. Now, Ritz Carlton's a brand that I had never had the luxury of staying with because it's pretty expensive. But I had an opportunity, and this is kind of the long story that I'll tell. I was down in New Orleans for a conference. I think it was like the International Franchise Show. I can't remember actually which show. Oh, you know what? It was a chart conference. It was a hotel and restaurant training conference. And we were down there, and the first night of the conference, there was no rooms available at the Ritz Carlton. So we had to stay at another hotel. I won't say who they are, but it was just about a block away from the Ritz Carlton. And it was fine. It was a decent hotel. It was just an average plain blah experience, but totally fine. Well, we went out that night, and we went over to Frenchmen Street. And if you've never spent time on Frenchmen Street, get off of the tourist traps and get over to Frenchmen Street. It's still very touristy. It's a really cool area, but there's tremendous music. We went to see a guy named Glenn David Andrews, also a free plug to him. Go buy his album, go see him play. See a show. The guy puts on a tremendous show. He plays at DBA on Frenchmen Street every Monday night, or at least he used to. We went and saw him, and we're walking back to our hotel after the show. The show was awesome, total blowout. We had a great time, dancing, singing, having a blast. And walking back to the show, we get back to the hotel, and I go to crack open a bottle of water when I see an $8 price tag on it. And this is not the Ritz Carlton, mind you. This is another hotel where they're charging $8 for a bottle of water. I think that's crazy, personally. I could probably just drink the tap water and survive. But I just decided I would, I'll run downstairs and I'll go across the street. There was a store maybe a half block away from the hotel I was staying at. I gather my belongings. I go down to grab some waters. That's all I remember. I was totally jumped and mugged and do not remember anything what happened after I left the hotel room. I woke up a bloody mess, and I didn't know where I was. Luckily, I had a saint who happened to be walking by, and he also happened to be an EMT with the Air Force. And this guy took me under his wing. He made sure my neck was stabilized. He cleaned me up. He gave me his phone to make a call so I could call my family. I could call my work colleagues and let them know what's going on. I got taken to a hospital. I didn't have any license with me, so at the time I went in as a John Doe. Once I came to again, they got all of my information. And then, after about, I think I was there overnight, so the next morning, they sent me home. And my work colleague saved me, and she came and grabbed me and brought me back to the hotel, and we checked into the Ritz Carlton. And I had a really hard time talking, so my colleague explained to the Ritz Carlton what happened to me, and they sort of just dropped everything. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. They assembled a team for me, and they assigned a guy. His name was Bubba. Bubba, if you're out there and you're seeing this video, man, I can't thank you enough. You're the best. You totally saved me. You treated me like a family member, like a brother, and someday I hope I can repay you. But needless to say, Bubba was kind of my handler. And Bubba walked me up to my room. He got all my stuff put away for me. He got the bed all set up. And he said, "Hey, let me go grab your prescriptions for you." And I was like, "Oh, God, that's so nice. You don't have to do that." And he's like, "Of course I do. Give me that." And he's like, "I got you. I got you covered, man. You just go rest." I was like, "Okay." So I went and laid down, and I was not feeling good. I had a fractured jaw. I had broken ribs. I had my shoulder was separated. I was kind of a mess. And needless to say, Bubba went and got my prescriptions. He came back and made sure that I had them, and I had to go get more bandages, so he walked me across the street after, held my hand as I crossed the road for me. And then the next thing you know, I'm back at my hotel. 2 hours later, somebody knocks on the door. And I'm like, well, I don't know who this could possibly be, but let's see what's going on. I opened the door, and this is room service. And room service has gone to their kitchen, which the food was tremendous to begin with. They took their food and they pureed it for me. And they made everything available to be eaten via a spoon or a straw. And I'm not talking, yogurt and applesauce. I'm talking their entrees that they blended down for me. It was the best, one of the better meals I've ever had, and I drank it through a straw. The Ritz Carlton also knew that I like to get a present for my daughter every time I take a work trip, and I couldn't walk around, so they sent up a basket for me to bring home to her with all of these cute little rubber duckies and like a teddy bear and a spa robe. Just went out of their way to make sure that I was okay. They don't know me from a hole in the wall. I wasn't even staying at their hotel when this happened. But it's just the type of culture that the Ritz Carlton has built. They empower all of their employees. It's tremendous. So props to Ritz Carlton, props to Bubba and the team at the Ritz Carlton, and props to people really just believing and understanding that training is at the core of every successful business.